All right, you found the video to learn how to tabby. So tabby is going to be your basic weave that you're going to use at the end of each, or the end of the beginning and the end of your loom. It's also going to be used to fill in between the other techniques that you're going to learn. So tabby in words is basically one row, under, over, under, over, under, over, repeated. And then the next row, the opposite, over, under, over, under, over, under. So let's get started on that. You have your loom that's already been warped. You're gonna need a skein of yarn. How much yarn? Well, 2 arm spans. So from fingertip to fingertip, stretch it out and do that twice. Cut it off the skein and you've got your amount of yarn. You can use a needle for this technique, but you don't have to. I'll show you both ways. So you have your yarn, needle, and your loom. So this is shorter than 2 arm spans, obviously, but for demo purposes, I wanted it to go a little bit faster. So I just threaded the yarn through the eye of my needle. Some of you will like to tie this just so it doesn't keep pulling off. You can do that, you don't have to. And we're gonna start. So the last tabby that was done down here started under the warp thread, if you can see that. Started under. So I need to do the opposite for this row and start over the warp thread. Notice I'm weaving up here because it's loose in this section of the warp threads. It gets tighter as you go down. So I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under. And you can say that in your head as you go just to keep track. And this needle is long, so it gets almost about halfway across the loom before you have to start pulling it through. So you're gonna, whoops, almost pulled it all the way through. So you're gonna pull, you're gonna leave a little tail at the end, just hanging. Do not tie this to the warp thread, just let it hang, it'll be fine. And you're gonna continue. So I stopped under, so I go over this one, under, over, under, over. Oop, see right there? I messed up and I did 2 under, so I gotta go back. Keep an eye on that. So I'm gonna pull that through. Now I'm gonna start my next row and I ended under the warp thread, so I'm gonna go over. So this will be the opposite of the row I just did. Okay, I'm gonna pull that through. Now, I wanna show you something. When you're pulling this through, I want you to leave a little loop like this. It can be enough to like put your fingertip in. Do not pull it tight like this. This will start you hourglassing, and we talked about that, how you don't wanna do that. You want your sides to be nice and straight, not curving in. So release that a little bit. Leave that loop. Do that on every row. You can see it right here how it's been done. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off the needle so I can show you how you can do it with your fingers. The next one I have to do will be over. So under, skip, under, skip. So I'm just lifting up the warp thread for the ones I need to go under. I'm gonna check to make sure This is all right, opposites. And I'm actually going to end this now. And we're going to push these down. Make sure your ends are right. So this is called beading in. You make it nice and compact at the end. If it's done correctly, you should not see any of your warp threads inside of this. You shouldn't see any black. So we're making some progress. It does take many rows back and forth to fill up a section. All right, so I have some extra yarn here. I'm going to trim just to have that little tail. The needle is not removed from the yarn. It goes back into the cup on the supply table. When you leave for class every day, please do not keep a needle in your loom because other students need them. Return them where they go. The looms go back in the boxes for your class, and the yarn goes back into the yarn boxes. Have fun learning Tabby. You can watch this again. You can pause and weave and watch and pause until you get the hang of it. Good luck.